It's a funny thing, isn't it, with Meghan Markle? We saw her recently on that red carpet for the Variety thing, basically gushing about her 7 years as a featured player on the cable TV show Suits, and basically saying that, there weren't not many good TV shows that you simply could binge watch on. Of course, she never reflected or, in fact, mentioned any other cast members, basically saying, what a great part they played or whatever. And let's not forget, of course, Rachel, Zane, basically was just a bit part. She wasn't the major league. Of course, though, then Netflix decided to pick up the repeats and they've managed to make some money on the back of Meghan's name. So much so, though, that this has now created something of a bit of a fracas, shall we say, which really overspilled at the recent Golden Globe Awards. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Lovely to have your company. I know I often say that, but I genuinely mean it. Thank you, by the way, for your lovely comments about Lana and Liz. I know, you see, just proves, doesn't it, that divas always end up fighting over things, even though to the outside world, they've got the world at their feet. I mean, when I met Elizabeth Taylor, incredible really, because she'd been famous all of her life, and yet, still had a bit of an itching against a former co-star, Lana Turner. Now, Lana, as you know, between them, they were hundreds of marriages, weren't they, really? But, they still wanted more. Do check out that video if you have the time. The Golden Globes, was supposed to be the sort of precursor of the Oscars. Now, I don't know about you, nobody cares about the Oscars, particularly over here in the United Kingdom. They've now been signed up by the little watch channel ITV. So you can imagine how plummeting that's going to be for a bargain basement price as well. But what was interesting was there was a big thing about how all cast members of Suits had been invited to the Golden Globes. All, of course, apart from Meghan Markle, because her particular docu-series, Harry and Meghan the Event, wasn't simply nominated. And, Rachel, whatever she calls herself, Meghan, would not turn up for anything where she's not got a name on a plaque. We all know that, right? What is interesting, though, is this. You will have all heard about this now. This is when, of course, Gina Torres, a wonderful, beautiful actress who took a major part in Suits, basically said, no, we don't have Meghan's number, really knocking on the head that there were sort of any friendship between the two. Now, what happened was, and as ever, we have to tell you exclusively and, of course, allegedly, at the table, not everybody was happy with this statement from Gina. This is because, you see, they wanted to go on with the myth that, and you know who I'm talking about here, that Meghan was still a chum, reaching out to everybody and still being very much part of the family. Why would they do that? Well, it's quite simple. It's all about publicity. It's all about keeping your name in the frame. If, of course, what is now being revealed that Meghan simply dumped them all after her wedding in 2018, once their usefulness had been achieved by turning up at said wedding and getting some publicity for her in America, well, what was the need for them? But certain people who recently found out by posting former pictures of their former co-star on, of course, social media, find very quickly Meghan can get in touch if and as and when she wants. She simply doesn't. What, of course, the former co-star did find out, though, was that Meghan can get in touch if and when she wants. She simply doesn't want. Many people might suspect that your usefulness is now expired, and more importantly, what would be the point? Also, let me tell you, the cast are not too thrilled with the way that Netflix have centrally promoted Meghan as the star of the show, i.e. in this particular drawing here. So you can understand why basically Gina very nicely, very tactfully decided to plunge the knife right in to the myth that Meghan is anything but still chums. It's a developing story. When I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean in the very heart of a windy London.